What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, a podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Anthony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing on a Wednesday night. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast. Will, Mike, and Jack walk into a bar? And it's been a couple of weeks since the last show. Apologies about that. Had a lot going on in the last month or so, and just not had time to put any streams together or anything. Matt is away in Glastonbury at the minute, and I say I've had a lot on my plate, so apologies we haven't been around here, but we are back. We are ready to go with all the latest bits of college news. We're going to be going through a few stories today, and then, as the title implies, Will, Mike, and Jack, who are they? They're all linebackers, so we're going to be looking at linebackers going into the 2026 NFL draft because Brent DeWitt asked us the question on one of our other videos. I saw it, Brent, and we've done some work for you, so don't worry. You ask us any questions, we will get those answered. We are going to take a look at dark horse candidates for the Heisman, and we're going to take a look at the high school recruiting class scene of 2026 because there have been a lot of big recruits lately, and a lot of that's starting to settle now. We're starting to see which classes are looking good, which players are coming along, so we're going to take a look at that as well. But before we start any of that, just going to bring in Rai. How are you doing? It's that part of the off season at the minute where not a lot is going on, so it's good to sort of dig down into some of these college guys to alleviate the boredom.
Yep, it's very quiet. Like I say, not hearing a lot about camp. Biggest news right now, like I say, is realignments because they just never stop. Like I say, and it's always the ball, the goalpost is always moving for a lot of teams. So that's the biggest thing right now. But yeah, already looking at the players to watch, the names to watch, the guys look at the draft. Like so, the guys that are really going to make a name for themselves this year and potentially put their name in the hat early and forego their eligibility.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite times of the year, getting to know the new class. After the fatigue of the previous draft has gone away, you get a blank canvas, a whole load of new players, and you get to discover what they are all about. So yeah, stick with us for the next few hours as we go through all this. But first of all, let's just get all the housekeeping stuff out the way. The Roar Lines UK Discord, if you want in on that, let us know. We'll send you a link for that. The main pod, again, apologies, we've not done a main podcast now in a couple of weeks. Again, I'll explain it all at a later time, but just had a lot going on. Matt's taking his time off at the minute because we all need a bit of a break after the year-long grind, but I'm hoping we will be back next Monday up and ready to go again. And on the schedule, we'll get back to normal. Don't forget to like and sub to everything, Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff. Your support really does mean the world to us. We're part of Lions Nation Unite, a most project to bring together the best in Lions content creators into one forum to talk all and everything Detroit Lions. We're an affiliate on Twitch, we're monetized on YouTube. We got a tip jar, so if you want to help us that way, great. But we just love having you in the building first and foremost. And we got a feedback form as well. So any feedback you have about the shows, fill it in, and we shall take it on board. I'm recording this show today just with my run of luck recently. I didn't want to risk a live and it going off halfway through. So apologies to those of you who usually watch us live. We'll be back to lives next week, probably, but I'll put it on Premiere. Hopefully, have a live chat going. I'll be in there. So you talk with me as the show goes along, and yeah, we'll have fun that way. Right. Let's get straight into this. So we're going to go through some news first before we start our three segments for the evening. And as Ryan mentioned there, realignment is in the air at the minute, but not unfortunately for one team that was hoping to be able to do so. We start this week with the news that the Sacramento State Hornets have been denied a waiver to complete their transfer from the FCS to the FBS as an independent in a ruling which is expected to be confirmed later on today, the Wednesday. It may already have been. I've not double checked at this point. So yeah, the NCAA Division One Council have cited the bona fide invitation rule that requires transitioning teams to already have a conference invite before making the move, something that Sacramento State didn't have as they were planning on just moving up as an independent. There was precedence for this in the past when Liberty moved up in 2017. They were allowed to move up as an independent, but that's not been allowed in this case. They've cited it's a different college football world, etc. So yeah, we're not going to let you do it. But this has potential severe ramifications for Sac State football. It may not, but it may. So all the non-football sports are relocating conference. So they're moving from the Big Sky to the Big West. The football program was moving on its own, but it now faces the likelihood of competing as an FCS independent, which will deny it the funding security of being in a conference. And this is at a time when they're investing large sums of money in the stadium, in the team, in everything, upgrading for their future in FBS football. So I'm assuming the next step will likely be finding an FBS conference quickly that's going to take them in, which could potentially weaken any negotiating position they have with them. Of course, that's just one of many ways it can go, but I don't know, right? Are you surprised that they've said no to this, given that they did allow Liberty to do so, or do you think, this was the right decision and now Sac State potentially they're going to have to sort this in a hurry if they don't want to enter the independent wilderness and potentially lose out on a lot of money?
Uh, I'm not too surprised. I don't think it's a sack state thing. I don't think they're going to let anyone come up as an independent anymore. It just feels like the way they're going with conferences, the way they're going with expanding the playoffs and how they're going to adjust those seedings, it's going to come to a point where you ain't in a conference. Yeah, we're going to look down upon you. Even the big teams, independent teams, it's going to be like they're going to try and shoehorn them in. Sack State, well, with what we've heard in the last 48 hours, could be the blessing in disguise. I've just shared a gif of the old Undertaker coming out of his casket. A conference is coming back to life, and Sac State is going to be in a good position to join it. But yeah, in the mean short term, not great. You've only got two FCS teams that are independent, Sacred Heart and Merrimack, both two small schools, both not exactly contenders, especially like not making splashes to get anywhere beyond the lofty playoffs. You do lose some security, so it felt a bit short-sighted to say they're leaving the Big Sky before the waiver was approved. Like that could be a mistake, but they'll be back this time. I imagine in a year. I imagine they'll have a conference and they will be granted space. But yeah, this feels like a president that's just going to go forward now, like you say, that no more coming up and just doing your own thing.
No, I mean we're down to what? One independent in the FBS now. It's just Yukon Huskies. Oh, and Notre Dame, but I assume they will be forced in eventually. So yeah, I agree. They'll be back in 12 months. They will probably get a conference. And one of the potential destinations that it could be, as you mentioned, with the Undertaker GIF, is the revamped Pac-12, which is coming back next year. They only have seven teams. Well, officially they have eight, but Gonzaga are just a basketball team for them. It's not a football team, so they need an eighth football team. And
In the chat
speaking,
in Discord, it looks like they're adding another, the
yes,
Bobcats.
yeah. So I was just about to go into that. So first of all, the Pac-12 news that dropped the other day, they have secured their first TV deal going forward. So it's going to be with CBS. It's a 5-year deal running from 2026 to 2031. So what that's going to entail, CBS and Paramount, they will air the Pac-12 championship games for football and basketball, and they will have a minimum of 3 regular season football and basketball games per season, which will air on the major CBS channels, whilst all the other football and basketball games will air on the CBS Sports Network on a variety of different channels. Other TV deals will likely be announced in the coming months, but it seems CBS is going to be the major partner here. And with that TV deal done, as Raz just mentioned, the Pac-12's most pressing problem is now finding an eighth team so that it can qualify as an FBS conference. You need 8 teams. And again, as he mentioned there, Texas State, the Bobcats are the betting favorites. And they've got to get it done quick. There's a big potential handicap coming here. So currently the buyout that the Pac-12 would have to pay the Sun Belt for them is $5 million. But at the end of June, when it moves on to the 1st of July, that buyout jumps to $10 million. And in a new league where you're trying to be careful with your funds and this new TV deal you've got, you don't want the price of a team to jump. So ideally, if Texas State are going to make the jump, they're going to make it within the next 6 days. And as Ryan's just mentioned, Ash has just put it in the Discord. Texas State officials have informed the Sun Belt they are expecting an offer from the Pac-12 in the near future. The talks have intensified in the last 24 hours, and again, that comes back into this thing that the buyout doubles from 5 to 10 million on the 1st of July. So potentially Texas State, if not, You might fancy Sac State would then get the call because it's not going to cost that much to bring them up. You can pay their, transfer fee from the FCS to FBS and get them in there. But that deal's going to be wrapped up soon, it looks like, right? I don't know what do you make of it. Texas State to the pack potentially.
Uh, on paper, it's a great move. They've been one of the most exciting offenses in football in the last 3 years. They've played high-powered football. They've got a good crowd. They've done well against the bigger teams. Like I say, they played well against ASU last year. Like I said, they've done good. They've got high level of talent, got a good fan base, a nice little stadium. I
Great
think it gives them a
coach.
chance. Yeah, like I say, and if you look at like say on paper right now, the inaugural Pac-12 coming back, very winnable. There'll be no clear favourites because like I say, it's a bunch of offcasts. Like I say, a lot of teams that fancy a look. But yeah, for one of them, it's gonna be very interesting. Yeah. And I've noticed that Sac State's like president like has tweeted out that a tweet that makes them sound like they're going to appeal. They said they've done everything. They feel like they should be allowed to play FBS football. So that's going to be an expensive, long process if they're going to go through that to be denied again.
I know, I look at it, I just think I don't really know what the NCAA's problem is. If they want to, I mean, they're going to get a conference. It's not like they're saying they want to come up and be an independent forever. They want to come up. They just want to start the transition sooner before doing things. So I don't get why they wouldn't allow them to do it for a year. They let Liberty do it for 5. But hey ho, we'll see with them there. But for the Pac-12 also, biggest problem now sorted. TV deal done. Obviously, getting
A
Gonzaga
bad
in to
deal. The
help with the
last deal was bad, wasn't it?
basketball.
Because it was
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah. And
Nobody
now.
liked it, and then they just said, "Screw this. We'll take our bat and ball home. We won't play."
So you got 4 games a year on the major channels for CBS, all the others on CBS Sports. Lots of people watch CBS, so their most immediate problem of getting the deal done is now fixed, which fixes the stability for them. Um, so yeah, that Pac-12 is coming back. It's got its TV deal. Maybe about to get its 8th team. We will see. But yeah, that is all that's going on with them. And then just quickly going back to FCS matters, we talk about realignment whatsoever. We've got 3 new teams coming to the FCS this upcoming season, all coming from Division 2. So if you used to have been Div 2 teams, they're FCS now. So Texas A&M Commerce, they are heading to the Southland. You've got Lindenwood, who had a draft pick this year, or a draft prospect this year. They're heading to the OVC, the Ohio Valley Conference. And Stonehill, no hell in idea where that is, are going to the NEC. But going to be the second Texas A&M team in the big leagues now. And then the other last bit of news I want to get out the way. The Senior Bowl, right? We all know it well as the Reese's Senior Bowl, but no more. Their deal has ran out to sponsor the event, and we have a new sponsor now. It is going to be the Panini Senior Bowl, and not the sandwich Panini. This is the card company Panini. We are going to get them, and this feels like right away. I already know what this is going to be. We're going to be getting prospect cards coming out now, hoping you're going to hit on the next big NFL superstar. These things are going to accrue a ton of value when you are picking guys as nobodies. This feels like it's going to be a very interesting venture with an absolute ton of advertisements, of new merch, of something like that. How are you feeling about Panini taking over the Senior Bowl?
It doesn't sound right. I don't like the sound of it. Senior Bowl, also, like I said, they've just lost Jim Nagy, haven't they? Because he's taken over the role at OU, which is a
Yep.
big change. Like I say, losing the director on X. Jim Nagy, like I say, is one of the most vocal. He's just one of the best guys to follow. Like I say, he just adores like college football. But Panini, this is great. Straight up cash grab, as you say, sticker books. If Panini does it one thing right, is to make stickers, and they are going to have, like say, a Reese's. They will have a ball sticker book. They will have trading cards. They will have keychains. They're gonna milk it for every penny it's worth. And I don't blame them. Like you say, it's a great move for them. They're a big brand. Nothing's gonna change. I don't think the concept, nothing. I don't think even with a new director, I just don't see any of it changing. It's just gonna be names, labels, personnel. Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It just feels like it's lost some charm with that name.
Yeah, the only small concern I have is, been as me and you both very big proponents of the small school guys, etc. With Panini, if they're wanting to try and find the legends of future, I just hope they're not going to bring in a load of big school guys, even if they're not as good, just in case they think they're going to get onto the next big guy and their cards are going to take value, etc. I hope that that side of it has nothing to do with the selection process of the players, where the new AD is told, right, bring in the biggest names, maybe not some of the guys who deserve it, who are underdogs, etc. Interesting. The new AD has just joined X today, so we'll follow him and see what he's like. But yeah, Panini, the Senior Bowl. It's going to take a bit of time to get used to it, but yeah, get used to the trading cards. They are going to be coming thick and fast. And then the only other bit of news I had here, and I'll go through it. CBS did a list of the 10 best backup quarterbacks going into college football this year. Now, I know we've not done the major quarterbacks and stuff yet, but I just wanted to quickly get Ryan's take on it to see if he agrees with the list, because there is a very, very hilarious one in here. Just quickly going through these. Number 10, Jacob Zeno at Texas A&M. He's the former UAB quarterback, threw for a good amount of yardage there. He's gone to be back up at Texas A&M. Number 9 is Jeff Sims of Arizona State. Ninth best backup quarterback, apparently, in the entire country there. At number 8, you've got Ken Seals at TCU. At number 7, you've got whoever loses the quarterback battle at Michigan, Mikey Keene or Bryce Underwood. At number 6, you've got Max Johnson at UNC. He has lost his starting job. Gio Lopez, the South Alabama transfer, is expected to get that gig, so Max Johnson's going to be the backup there. Number 5 is Tyler Van Dyke at SMU, and how the mighty fall. He's going to be behind Kevin Jennings there this year, but potentially a great backup for them to have if he goes down injured. Number 4, you've got Ashton Daniels at Auburn. He's the former Stanford starter. Didn't have the greatest career there, but that Stanford team was pretty trash, although I don't know whether Auburn will be much better in the SEC. Number 3, you got Zion Chris at Houston. He is going to be backing up who I said was going to win the Heisman last year, Connor Weigman. But yeah, he's hung around Houston for a few years now. At Texas, at number 3, you've got Matthew Caldwell. He's a fifth year guy. He was at Troy last year, but he's moved to be back up to obviously Arch Manning, who's going to play every snap there if possible. And then at number 1, I highly agree with this. Michael Van Buren at LSU, gonna be the long-term guy to Garrett Nussmeier there. He was a true freshman at Miss State last year, performed really well on one of the worst teams in the country. He's gonna be an absolute stud there, I think. We'll talk about him as a high draft pick in a few years' time, but I don't know about you. I don't see much wrong with that list. I think Michael Van Buren probably is the most talented backup QB in the country at this point. Not sure Jeff Sims belongs on that list, but I don't know. What do you make of it?
Uh, I mean, it ain't pretty, is it? But it
No.
never is in college football, like I say, because these guys, most of these guys were not even on this team last year. I mean, but look at standout names, I suppose, like I say, Max Johnson. He was pretty good at LSU. Like I say, he had obviously he had injuries, but I say he did get a considerable amount of playing time, them and the Aggies. So Texas A&M, like I say, he's a legitimate starter in the SEC and has got many games under his belt. Like you're saying, he usually just got surpassed by either injury and didn't get the job back, or a high level recruit that came in and just took the job from him. So yeah, I feel like if I had to pick any of these guys to come into a game and feel comfortable and seeing out of it, I'd probably put Max pretty high on that list. Jeff is there purely because of experience. Like I said, Jeff Sims has played a lot of football, a lot of different teams. He's a coach's guy. A lot of coaches like him because he just does as he's told, goes out and does the best beer. But if you're talking guys out there that have done the most, I suppose it's Mikey Keaton. Like I say he's
Mm.
probably got he's the kind of guy that, yeah, I think he'll probably push Bryce Underwood pretty hard all year. If Bryce makes one too many mistakes and like say Michigan's in a chance to have a good year and the season is on the line needs saving, then you probably send out some experience like him to get the job done.
I'm still not sure. I don't think there's a winner in that. I know Bryce is doing very well by all accounts, but I think that's still pretty much an open battle at the minute. But they're right. Whoever's going to come second in that is going to be. They could start the next day. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah,
Tyler Van
that.
Dijk, he's a weird one because, like I say, he was once
Oh,
the darling of the nation. And through, like I say, bad play, also severe injuries, they've just
mm.
derailed anything he could be. Like I say, he's a ghost.
Yeah, it just feels like his career trajectory is if Keaton Jennings gets injured this year, he's going to come in and absolutely go crazy and just confuse everybody with his stock. But I mean, Jennings' injury worries are far behind him now, so you're hoping you don't see much of him this year because we'll want SMU to do well again. But yeah, that was just an article put out on some of the best backup QBs. So there's some of the situations where some of the teams won't be in so much
Speaking of
bother.
SMU, like I say, you could have made a case for Preston Stone at Northwestern, who's once a
Hmm.
very good quarterback himself. Like you say, and Northwest ain't got the best situation.
No, no, he could be in there as well. We'll probably see him in those in the purple at some point this year. Right. That's all the newsy bits we've got out the way there. So let us move on to our first of our three segments for today. And this was in relation, as I mentioned, to a question posed to us by our good friend Brent DeWitt on one of the main podcast videos. He was asking about who's going to be linebacker one potentially in this upcoming draft. And, so we sort of elongated this because me and Ryan have talked about this. We're already at the consensus. There's one guy who is by far and away the best prospect in this upcoming draft. No one can really hold a candle to him at this moment in time. So what we're going to do is we're looking at a selection of guys, some who are on the radar, some who are under the radar, who maybe might not challenge for that, but certainly could challenge for the first round and maybe mix it up if the outstanding favorite, gets injured because he's only a true. No way he's a senior. If he gets hurt, that's probably the only way this is going to happen. But we wanted to do a lowdown on the linebackers for you, so we're gonna dive down into that. So hopefully this will answer your question there, Brett. But I mean, before we do, we talk about the pretty obvious one. I'm assuming we're gonna say the same one. I'm assuming we're in Texas for this one.
We are, yes.
So we're talking about Anthony Hill, who
Yeah.
is just absolutely phenomenal. He's part of this wonderful defense. Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill. He's just one of these hybrid guys. They play him up on the edge a little bit, but his bread and butter's a middle linebacker. I mean, if he has the season he's capable of having, and they're great. I mean, his ceiling is probably top 10. Would you reckon with what he can do? That pass rush ability off the edge, the athleticism is just freakish. He's experienced. He's do it all. Like I really love him. I know a lot of people do as well. He's going to go very high if he has a good year.
Oh, yeah. Easily top 10, top 15 kind of guy. Like I say, just offers versatility next level. He's as comfortable moving backwards as he is side to side, as he is putting a hand in the dirt or, like say, a 2 point stance. Just getting straight after the quarterback. He can do it all in a frame that's already built for the NFL. Experience. He's a winner. He's a guy that has done really well under coaching. He's part of a strong unit, a good communicator. He's just everything you'd kind of love. He's one of those guys, like I say, could be first defensive player off the board if it does fall right.
Yeah, I agree with that. Depending on what goes on, he is absolutely special, and you could probably deploy him in one of a number of positions in the NFL. But we're all looking forward to seeing Anthony Hill this year. But yeah, we're going to dive into a few of the other guys. You say you've got two,
Yeah.
is that right? Well, I've got three, so if we're going to zigzag it, I'll start with this one. So I've picked one who's he's in like the top five at this moment. The other two, maybe not necessarily such, because for me, after Anthony Hill this year, I think a lot of the guys ranked behind him, because I think Harold Perkins is ranked third currently, which is just no, I don't. I think there can be a lot of change behind number one, and some guys potentially challenging here. So I've dived down in the cupboard a bit. I don't think there's going to be any crossover, but the first guy I've got, and one I'm really really excited about going into this year. He's another one of Kurt Signetti's brigade who came over from James Madison with him. I've got Aidan Fisher. here. He is the middle linebacker for the Indiana Hoosiers, just going into his second season there, like Kurt Signetti is. And he spent 2 years at James Madison before that. He's a 2 year starter overall. 2023, his first year as a starter in the Sun Belt. He was an all Sun Belt selection in 2023. His first year last year in the Big Ten, he was an All American first team Big Ten selection in 2024. So he is 6'1", 233 pounds. Really good frame there for me. But for me, well, immediately the thing starts out, this kid has fought through a lot of adversity to get where he is. And, we very much highly value the mental aspect of fighting your way through college. But he's number four. So he's the number four on the Indiana team. And the four has a very personal meaning to him. So he lost his dad when he was just 11 years old, before he was able to really see him play football there. And then when he was in high school, when his mum had remarried, he lost his stepfather to a brain tumor. Like, this guy and his family have been through a lot. So the four that he wears, it represents him, his mum, his two sisters, like the personal struggle they've gone through with these losses and the challenges they've gone through together and how they've come out the other side stronger as one unit. It means a lot to him. And again, to go through that level of personal loss is very tough. But he was a 0-star recruit when he came out of Virginia. No stars to him whatsoever. James Madison were one of the only teams to offer him a scholarship, and the way he's worked his way through this team up to where he is now, the level of resilience, the level of adaptability to the new challenges he faces year on year. This is the sign of a player who can make it when it comes to the NFL. So he excelled on special teams in his freshman year, only played about 30 snaps in the first team, but he was absolutely excellent and he managed to fight his way into a starting job year two. That was Signetti's last year in James Madison when they went 11-2 and they basically destroyed everything in their path in the Sun Belt that put in their way. And they run this highly aggressive run stopping first defense there, which just allows these guys to shine. In his first year as a starter, he looked like a seasoned pro. As mentioned, he was part of the contingent that then came along to Indiana, brought that winning mentality along with him. So just after establishing himself in the group of five, he's worked his way through special teams, he's got onto the team, worked his way through the group of five, comes into the Power Four last year and takes to it like an absolute duck to water. He became the first linebacker in the entire history of Indiana Hoosiers football to get a first team All-American honor. And it wasn't just one, it was the Football Writers of America and Phil Steele. He got two lots of, first team All-American votes. So it wasn't just some sympathy vote of that. He earned that. And as I say, how you've worked your way here, you were 0-star recruit, you've had to fight your way through into the team. You've then shown the level of adjustment from group of five to power four. The seamless adaptation of that for me, he's got this I'll prove them wrong attitude. Like, you tell me I can't do this, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Like, the guy had no right to be here from where he started, but it's the attitude in how he's returned, which has really sort of appealed him to me because he could have declared for the draft last year. Jalen Walker, the other Indiana linebacker, went to the draft, got drafted pretty highly, if I remember rightly. But, despite Indiana doing really well last year, winning 11 games, the two games at the end of the year, Ohio State and Notre Dame, that they lost to obviously both championship finalists, they lost to a degree of ease. They weren't really as competitive in those two games as they had been in all the others, and that hurt him. Winning double-digit games is not enough for him. He wants this team to be able to win double-digit games and be competitive against the best teams out there, and he felt that his performances in the two games, the two marquee games, showed that he wasn't quite where he needed to be to come into the NFL. That's thinking with your head there. I like that. He's come back. He's one of the biggest leaders on this defense. They don't use captains at Indiana, but he is basically the green dot on this team. And they said he's absolutely vital in the way this thing runs. But instead of going to the draft running off, he's come back knowing full well a really bad season might tank his draft stock here, but the way he approaches all these challenges and he overcomes them, I just absolutely love this. And If he comes out, has another good year, if the Indiana show that this isn't just a 1 year blip, 1 year blip of being good and that this is sustainable, and that defense is as good as it was last year, because it was a monster last year, and they're going to have a tougher schedule this year. He's going to be one of the best all-round linebackers for me that the 2026 draft has to offer. So he's played 36 games, 24 starts, 217 tackles, 97 run stops, 14% missed tackle rate. He's got an interception, 8 pass breakups, 36 quarterback pressures. He had a run defense grade of 81 last year in the Big Ten, where they love to run the football. Again, this Indiana defense was only giving up 80 yards per game on the ground until it came up against Notre Dame, who just ran through everybody. The guy plays with intensity. He hits hard. He hits often. He's got 9 games of double-digit tackles. This is the first guy who's in, when a tackle needs to be made, he's the first one in there. The technique against run blocking is tremendous. On the very few times that Indiana D line did get breached, he's there to plug and play. He's athletic, can fill all the gaps he needs to. The sideline to sideline speed is wonderful. Um, and his coverage instinct is growing as well. As I say, you've got 8 pass breakups in the last 2 years for him. He's a slightly smaller guy, but he's shown a good ability there, and he's shown an ability to rush the passer as well. And with Jalen Walker gone, who kind of did that pass rushing role a little bit more, it's going to fall to him. So if we see this pass rush arsenal of his grow this year, and we see the sack stats go up as well, again, going to turn into an all-round linebacker, do it all, but just this is vibes a lot, but he maintains the attitude, which I think he's going to do great. And this team is going to be good this year. So Aiden Fisher, he may be a little bit of an outside bet to be one of the top linebackers right now, but if the season goes how I think it's going to go for him, you'll be hearing his name a lot going forward. So yeah, Aiden Fisher of Indiana, he's the first of my linebackers who I think could be going quite high in the draft next year outside Anthony Hill. Who have you got first up, Ryan?
First up, have you got him now? I've got Torian York from
Oh,
Texas A&M, the Aggies. So entering his junior year, he is 6'1", 230 pounds. Across 2 years, he's collected 156 tackles, 4 passes defended, 5.5 sacks, a forced fumble and interception. He was a 3-star recruit out of high school. Originally planned to follow one of his favorite coaches to Duke, but ultimately committed to the Texas A&M Aggies because he was upset. He wanted to be, I believe, a Longhorn, but Texas never made him an offer. And from that day on, they became his arch nemesis. Like saying he's never looked back ever since. So yeah, he's become a starting SEC middle linebacker from day one. 2 years now. He will be entering his second year as a team captain out of 3 years this year. He is PFF Max Chadwick's number 2 returning linebacker in the country, behind the said Anthony Hill Jr. Against the run, he's absolutely outstanding. So as a freshman, 81.5 PFF run grade. And last year, smidge under at 71. That still ranks out as one, like I say, the top centile in the country against the run. He is physical. He comes down hard. He fills gaps. His gap assignment is very good. He sheds blocks. He comes down. He keeps his head out of players. He's got good technique when it comes to tackling. He is in a physical monster, and he makes his presence felt every time he's back. So he had a modest 10.3% missed tackle rate in 2020 for his freshman, but last year that came all the way down to 8.2. And as for a guy that's played with 600 snaps on defense last year, that was one of the best in the country. He misses very little. When he comes down and he lays the boom, very few guys escape his grasp. He is so good, say, diagnosing players before the snap, just kind of working out which hole they're going to go in. He plays very much on instinct. He's a fast processor of the game, a smart kid that does his homework, watches a lot of tape on running backs he's going to play as well, tendencies, so he knows exactly what's going to happen before the plays, and he just tries, goes there, and yeah, he delivers a forceful blow. He's very good. Like I say, he's a strong leader. He's a great communicator at getting a defense that in general over years has been very good. But he's one of the guys that rallies the troops. He's someone that's always talking, future green dot wearer potentially at the next level, someone that can quickly call in players, can then also move guys recognizes those motions, those transitions, make sure guys are in the right space or moves over when they need to be. Just a kind of general on defense. And it's just regards to it's so early. He got thrown in at the deep end. A lot of guys sink, but this guy's swum so far. Only thing he needs to work on right now is probably like a top 50, 60 player coverage. If he's going to be an every down kind of guy playing next year, he's just going to have to work on diagnosing them, like say those backs that come out the backfield, the tight ends, that short yard little burst, and like say trailing guys, and then just working a bit more with his hands because we know the tackling game is elite right now. He shows a little bit more roundedness to be a 3-4 down player instead of a 2-3 down player. He could very well be the second linebacker drafted in the first round next year. He's got pedigree, he's got chip on his shoulder, he's got a good amount of physicality. Like I say, he does the dirty stuff really well right now. He just needs to add a touch of finesse to his game. I fully expect him to declare after this junior year. It doesn't. It's not a top heavy linebacker class for me. Like I say, we saw linebackers this year fall really far. Like I thought Carson Swezinger was a steal in round two. This is just all over for me again. Start at round two, and you're getting a future guy that could play 5, 10 years in the league at a consistent high level. And for me,
Yeah, the thing that really stands out with this class this year, there's a lot of true juniors this year in the linebacker class. Like a lot of
a
guys who've
lot of guys that are
started.
just gonna forego their senior year.
Yeah,
They
like
like them, though. You want them young. Like I said, I
yeah.
don't want linebackers taking 4 years of pummeling.
No, it's such a hard position to learn. The younger you get them in the league, the more time you've got to work with them. But there are a lot of true juniors knocking around the linebacking ranks this year. But I love Torian York as well. I think he's going to be really good this season. Thankfully, though, I didn't have him on my list, so we've not overlapped as of yet. And the next guy I've got here, this is the guy I'm really excited about. You maybe not have heard much about him yet, but because he's not been able to put together the profile that I know he's capable of yet, but he's on a team I'm watching very closely this year. I've got Lander Barton from Utah. I'm so excited about this kid. This is going to be his fourth year in Utah. He is just a 1 year starter there. It was an academic all Big 12 guy last year, though. It showcases for me one of his most elite traits, his football IQ. He's 6'5" and 236 pounds. He's a former 4-star recruit here, but why I'm so excited, as I mentioned, he is as clever as they come at the linebacker position. He's a premier athlete as well. The RAS guys are going to absolutely love him. So just this is his family history. So his dad was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays in Major League Baseball. His mum is in the Utah Basketball Hall of Fame, and he's got two brothers in the NFL. You've got Cody Barton at Tennessee, the linebacker, and you've got Jackson Barton, the tackle, who I think last I checked was in Cleveland. Oh, and he's got a sister who's an All-American at Utah as well. This entire family have gone through the Utah system into a variety of different sports, but he's got the two critical tools you really want to play middle linebacker in the NFL. He's got the head. He's got the athletic ability. And to be honest, he's got the size as well. 6'5", 236. Maybe a little taller than you see some guys at the middle linebacker position, but he's got such potential to be special. So he's not on radars as much at the minute when you come across the top linebackers because he's not played quite enough yet to develop this obvious upside that he has. So as a true freshman, he did play in every game, but he only started four. He did a lot of special teams work. But in 2022, he was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. He had half a dozen sacks that year from the linebacker position in a limited sample. Second year, he did nail down the starting job as linebacker, but just as he was sort of getting into the role of it, he sustained a leg injury in 23, which cost him just over half his season and interrupted his development, which is really where the problems have been. And he recovered for last year, but he was a little bit banged up going into year three, but he did play the full season as a starter. But as I say, he was starting from an area where he was a little bit banged up and maybe affected his play a bit. The numbers don't scream off the chart right now, but with his frame and his athletic ability, a lot is asked of him. So, you know, He's a budding coverage linebacker, so he's got 4 interceptions over the last 2 years at 6'5", using that frame to jump routes. He plays in the slot a little bit when they need him to with certain matchups against certain guys. But yeah, 4 interceptions, 4 pass breakups the last 2 years show a budding coverage linebacker in there. They can play him up on the edge as well, which he does a little bit. As I said, he had half a dozen sacks as a rotational guy in his true freshman year. Only had 2 last year, but they didn't play him up as much as they did then. But as a run defender, graded just under 80 last season as well. He's really good against the run. Again, uses that big 6'5" frame to absolutely come down and pummel anything that's running at him. Overall, he's played 33 games. He's got 22 starts, 128 tackles, 62 run stops, a 17% missed tackle rate, which is an issue. But as I say, he's got the 4 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, 4 forced fumbles, 4 battered passes, 47 quarterback pressures. And why I really like him is just when you are an all-round guy like this who can do a little bit of everything, you play in the slot a bit, you play on the edge on a bit, but primarily at middle linebacker, you've got an awful lot to learn. A lot of his flaws right now are just lack of snaps. He does have 1,500, but over 3 years, but you need a lot of reps to be able to get familiar with your game, just to be able to get that memory in there. So, a lot of this is going to sort itself. He has a fully healthy season. He's fully healthy going into this season as well, which is going to be big for him. So a lot of these issues are going to sort themselves out. The main issues he does have, so he does have some technique issues with his run blocking. Obviously, 6'5", you've got to learn your leverage battles there. A couple of times guys are able to get under him and sort of lever him out the play. More common with these big guys, but again, more exposure to it should recover him there. And then the other one, he's just got to trust his instinct a little bit more. As I say, this is a guy who you can see him ID plays before they're happening. But it just looks sometimes like he's second guessing himself, like, actually, am I right? Have I seen this? It happens a lot with some of these guys. Again, you've just got to trust yourself. You've got to make a judgment call and go for it. The reason this missed tackle rate is so high is just because a few times it's just a split second too late because he's just hesitated a little bit. Once that hesitation is out his game, which again will come with reps, you're going to see these problems clean up pretty soon. But in terms of the athletic attributes, he knocks it out the park. He's got the IQ he needs, and he's got a unique frame to be able to be moved around here. And, I've not been as excited about a Utah linebacker since Devin Lloyd. We know these guys. And Devin Lloyd did a little bit of everything as well. He rushed off the edge, he dropped into coverage, he was an inch smaller. But this is potentially, he's in this vein. Devin Lloyd was a first round pick. Landon can be the next. So Landon Barton, watch him this year. This Utah team is good, man. They got the best pair of OTs in the country. They've got a lot of talent here. Hopefully they're going to be better um, at quarterback. Because he's also had to deal with this problem. Quarterback just kept turning it over last year, put a lot of strain on the defense, not in the best positions to succeed. But this guy could potentially be one of the best do-it-all linebackers we've seen in a long time. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I think if the season goes how it should, you will hear the name a lot in the upper echelons this year. He could potentially challenge Anthony Hill if he has a quieter year. Let's just put it that way. That's what his ceiling is there. So yeah, Lander Barton of Utah, one to watch out for sure. Who's your next one, Ryan?
So this player, I love, like I say, and I think a lot of the is turning heads in the country. Like I say, I've got Whit Weeks at LSU. So just a true sophomore, be entering his junior year, 6'2", 220 for his first 2 years, 170 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass defending interception. 120 of those tackles though came this year. Last year he was outstanding. A former 4-star on 3 high school recruit. Last year he was the Louisiana Sports Writers Defensive Player of the Year. So that's all sports, I believe, across the whole state. He was the best. He had a stellar SEC Defensive Player of the Week performance against Ole Miss. We had like 12 tackles, like 2 forced fumbles. And this year has been named to the prestigious Lott Trophy watch list. Now that's for football play on the field, but also giving to your community and charity off the field. So it's the equivalent of the Walter Payton Award, where yeah. So if you do good off the field and give back to your people, and also do good in your studies and play football, you usually do pretty well in the Lott Trophy. So this guy. It's coming overcoming some adversity. So a lot of people remember last year the horrendous injury in the Texas Bowl where he broke his leg clean two, the dislocated ankle, the foot just pointed the wrong way, and his brother was just absolutely terrified. But he said clean surgery report, no ligament damage, fighting fit coming into this year. And for me, he's the guy. He's gonna be the guy to watch this year on this defense. He has made a name for himself, coming from a super strong footballing family. So his older brother West, he's a linebacker a year older than him, and his little brother Zach has reclassified and declared to LSU as well. So Zach's also in defense. So all three brothers will be on the LSU roster this year and should play together. And that's not happened many times in college football. Three brothers playing at the same time. This guy is different to York because this guy is coverage. He has got a tremendous frame, he's built like Hercules. He has got long legs. He's got great arms with a good reach, physical hands. He has got that lovely silky like gets the hips out wide, changes direction very quickly, keeps the heels in a nice wide shape, just moves naturally side to side left. He is so comfortable in coverage, which is his biggest asset. He's great against running backs. He's happy against tight ends, picking up stuff, traffic coming across the middle. Like I say, he's happy to disrupt those guys, read their players before, try to work out their route steps, step in front of passing lanes as well. He's a guy that's very comfortable with hand-eye coordination and someone that also another tremendous tackler. Like I say, he's one of those guys where he comes down hard and aggressive, sometimes to his detriment, but he's a guy that he's a finisher, he's a punisher. Like I say, gets the hard down, he wraps up, he squeezes the knees, twists down, and he's a guy that likes to finish the players. Sometimes can be a little bit too aggressive, bite too hard, and that's where those big players can come from. But yeah, he is tremendous in all assets. This guy though, third in the SEC among linebackers last year, 19 pressures. So at 6'2", 220, he's a light kid, but he's got a knack for turning speed into power. He is someone that is able to get his head down. He's able to come round the edge or come blitz from his linebacker spot, like say whether it's a stunt or not. And he's got the ability to disrupt players and at the very worst, force the quarterback out of the pocket and throw on the run. He's an incredible athlete. Like you say, he's just so well put together. A great blend of size, strength, speed, agility. He's done very well. So he's a guy that at the next level could play four downs. He could be everything you want him to be, like Fred Warner is. Like I say, he can drop back into coverage. He can blitz off the edge if you want him to, or he can just be calling the shots in the run game. Like I say, come up to the line of scrimmage and just get his head down, nose for the ball, and just go on there. Whether he finishes the tackle or he punches it out or not, he really is a stud this year. He's a guy that I think it's unlikely he declares as a junior, though. I mean, he'll have a great year, but I think he may look towards, like, say, being a strong first round candidate in 2027. Because right now, he may get lost in the waters of elite defensive talents this year. So I'd be very surprised if his name is called this year. But he's a sleeper. Like I say, he's incredibly talented. He's still very young. Don't like the word raw, but yeah, Rob, like I say, he just is so malleable. He could be anything you want him to be. Like I say, he plays the game like a safety, but he's got the strength of a linebacker. Only knock is the frame. I think his last weigh-in was like 222 pounds. For a taller guy at 620 in coverage, it's a bit light. And like I say, a lot of people do say, is he strong enough? Is he tough enough? Will he be able to compete against those guys at the next level that are heavy with a strong base? He maybe needs to pack on a bit of muscle. I'd like to see him probably closer to 230, 235 at 6'2". That's probably where he needs to be. So, but this year, like I say, we know about Perkins, and Perkins has kind of lost his way, and they've had to look to this young man to kind of like hold their middle of that field together. And he's done a good job of that this year. But yeah, he's got the chance to make himself an incredible name for himself this year. Nice. You could almost put him in the, like I say, the defensive player of the college year. Like I say, he could be the guy that wins the top linebacker award this year. So he is going to be someone that Brian Kelly will probably hang his hat on to lead the troops and be the guy this year.
Yeah, I think with a lot of these two juniors, maybe a run in the playoffs might encourage them to go to the draft. If you get
Yeah.
those big games and
Big
you,
year for LSU because, like I
eh,
said, they've got to do it. They've got to
yeah,
make the playoff run.
yeah, if you get, you get two or three extra games as well, more tape, big pressure situations, I feel like that might influence. But I must admit, yeah, I hope he does with that injury. you just hope he comes back, hits the ground running. But he is a special talent indeed, and we value the undersized guys as well. You're undersized, don't care if you're good enough, you are good enough. And then the final guy I've got here, this is the one I thought we may cross over on. You'll know him well because he's from the Big 12. So we got Austin Romaine from Kansas State. Ryan will know him well. I think it was one sack, one forced fumble, one pass breakup, 80 run defense grade against Arizona State last year. He had himself a bit of a game, but this is another one of this true junior class who has just absolutely excelled. So he's 6'2", 240 pounds. Coming into his junior year, played 320 snaps as a true freshman, but then really went on and took one of them starting jobs last year. Played just over 600 snaps there, but this guy is about as good a run defender as you'll find from the linebacker position, and it all starts with just this wonderful technique he has for shedding blocks. Like any aspiring linebacker needs to watch his tape. Guys just can't block him because his speed, the acceleration, his hand usage, he's just got absolutely everything. He graded at 91 over the season last year against the run. And in a Big 12 where there are a lot of teams who love to run the football in that conference right down your throat, you have got to be a linebacker who could defend against the run very well. And he showed himself to be one of the best at that. Say played every game last season, led the team with 96 tackles. He had 7.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 pass breakups. He was all Big 12 second team. I don't know who the hell got in front of him, but he's the first true freshman defender from the Wildcats to start more than 5 games. That's going back to about 2015 when Duke Shelley did it for them. And it's the first, he's played the most games by a true freshman K-State linebacker since 1988, before either me and Ryan were born. But this guy, in terms of you want some guy who's going to hit you hard, he's going to keep you down. His missed tackle rating, it was 30% in his true freshman year. You can understand true freshman tackling is a little bit of an issue. Went all the way down to 18 last year as just a true sophomore. So that thing's coming down. The tackling's getting much better from him as a pass rusher. 22 quarterback pressures last year, 2 sacks, 4 hits, 16 hurries. That was up from 10 in his freshman year. 3 forced fumbles. This guy turns the ball over, and they were all against running backs. And there's just the 3 times you see them and the ball absolutely flies out. It just doesn't drop out of their grip. Like he absolutely marmalizes them. The only thing he doesn't really do at the moment is coverage. He's got 1 pass breakup in his career, so coverage is not his game. But that's something that he can learn, and probably going into his true junior year, probably going to face a few more pass heavy teams this year. You want to see him tested in that discipline because if he can, this is going to be another guy who's going to be a potential all rounder. Now, he may wait till his senior year, he may not declare either, but at the rate he's developing and how fast he's going, and again, if this Kansas State team make the playoffs, get some high profile games, and he performs really well, I would expect him to make a go of it this year, especially with the linebacker class being so uncertain. But he's another one. The athleticism is off the charts. Sideline to sideline, he might be better than the other 2 that I've mentioned so far. But just in terms of a guy who plugs a gap, comes up, makes plays time after time after time, Austin Romaine is really impressive. And again, as a true junior going into this year, we've probably not even seen close to his ceiling of what he is as a player. We know he's going to be an elite run defender from the bat. Can you just work out those tackling issues? Just get the technique a little bit more right. Can you show me a little bit more in coverage? Which he's going to. More reps he gets, the more his workload is going to go up. But he's an exciting prospect. He's going to be in one of the toughest Power 4 conferences again this year because this thing is so wide open. So you're playing against a good team every week. So the level of opposition never goes down. Austin Romaine he's the younger one, but he is another wild card who could go really high in the draft. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. We watch a lot of Big 12 football, so we will see. Obviously, Ryan's seen him firsthand there as well. This kid is good, and we're looking forward to seeing him. So those 5 guys there who we've highlighted, some maybe already up there potentially. We've seen a lot of what they're about. A couple of them. We've not seen the best of them yet. So, yeah, hopefully, Brent, you've got a few more names to have a little look at now in terms of the linebacker class. I mean, we've got a few honorable mentions here. I mean, Sonny Styles, I wanted to put on this list. I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
him. It's
I
just
love him.
It's just the safety hybridness with him. I don't know where he's going to play. So I don't know. I didn't
I
know
like him
if
as a safety.
I do. So I don't know whether I assume someone's going to play him as a star
Yeah.
and they'll
But it's
use him a
six
little bit
four, two
both.
twenty. Like you say,
Yeah.
he's kind of got that build where he's a very tall linebacker.
Yeah. Like the Cowboys love their stars. Like they got Marquise Bell a couple of years ago, etc. So I would expect teams like him are going to absolutely love him. Obviously, Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins is ranked third on this list. I don't know. I'm just not sold. I think some team needs to take him late on in the draft and to return him to an edge rusher, even if it's just a situational edge rusher. 'Cause you're probably going to get him day three at this rate, but I don't think his future's at middle linebacker. Do you?
No.
No, I don't either.
Put him back where he's best. Just make
Yeah,
him do it again.
yeah, just put him on the edge and let him go berserk. I think the other name that's knocking round, I'm surprised we didn't see him as an Old Miss player, but Sunderine Perkins is in there as
He
well.
was the other guy I looked at, yeah.
But I think he's also sort of an edge. He's an outside linebackery hybrid, isn't he? I don't like when I'm doing linebackers using hybrids. I prefer my traditional big ass middle linebackers, big beefy guys. So, but yeah, those are some of the guys we'll look at. And of course, as the season goes on, if anyone starts to break out, any new names appear, we shall let you know. Right. So that is the linebackers done. So let's move it on, and we're gonna talk a little different now. We're going to look at the Heisman. Obviously, we're in off season at the minute. There's still a long time to go before the season starts. So, we've got a lot of stuff to chat about. But something like this we can have a look at. Obviously, the Heisman become a quarterback thing over the last few years. And we know the big names that are in there this year. Your Garrett Nussmeyers, your Arch Mannings, Lenoris Sellers, all these guys have got, good chances potentially of winning the Heisman this year. But we wanted to take a look maybe at some of the guys who don't. There may be a quarterback on a not fancied team or a team who could go far and they'll come to the fore. Or maybe, God forbid, they start picking skill players again. Now, obviously, we got Travis Hunter last year, but he's a two-way generational player, so we still need to break the stigma and get some positional guys
Did have a
in
look. Since
here as
2000, only
well.
three receivers have won the Heisman. But one is Eric Crouch, who was also a quarterback in
Hmm,
2002. He only had 700 receiving yards, so he wasn't really a receiver.
no.
And yeah, Travis Hunter. So yeah, three wide receivers in, like I said, nearly 30 years.
Yeah, and it's been over a decade since Derrick Henry won it as a running back. Like running backs just do not get a look on here anymore. That's not stopped me from putting one on this list here.
Either.
So I think there's some guys who are potentially going to go in. So we'll start with you this time, Rye. Who is your first dark horse Heisman candidate for the 2026, 2025 college football campaign?
Yeah, I've got three categories. So my first one is hear me out. My second one is the stars need to align or do some voodoo. And the third one is if you're a betting man, just you could just set fire to your $20 note. It's not going to change. But you'd be a millionaire if it won. So my first one is I've got Baron Morton, quarterback at Texas Tech. So in his senior year, 6'1", £200, 2024, had a stellar year. 63.3 passing percent, 3,335 yards, 27 touchdowns, eight interceptions. Now on a top team, that is probably enough to be in the Heisman contention, like top 10, top 15. But yeah, he wasn't. He was on the Red Raiders. But something's happening down there in Lubbock, Texas. Like I said, they've struck oil, literally. And that roster, the Heisman to me, it's a team award. You just have to steer the ship. You just have to be nowhere steering the arc. They will deliver you the Heisman if that happens. They've added a great experienced lineman, Howard Simpson from UNC. They've got Hunter Zambrano, one of the top FCS linemen from Illinois State, a multi-year starter, to kind of pound on that offensive line. Taj Brooks, now their reliant, strong workhorse that a lot of that offense kind of went around, is gone. So it's going to be a committee of running backs behind him now to try and actually try plug that hole that's left. And they've also hired Matt Leftwich as their offensive coordinator. He has come from Texas State. He had them ranked nationally both last 2 years in total offense and scoring. And at just 30 years old, he's been nominated for the
Oh, what happened there? Okay, sorry if you just bear with us one moment. I've just lost Ryan out of the. I've just lost him for some reason. I don't know what's gone on. Um, Okay, so just for one moment, while we do this, so as he was chatting about Bear Morton of Texas Tech, and I do agree for the most part, I did have him in like my final short list of guys that I was gonna use for this, but I just thought the whole aspect of having a super team and whatnot was, oh, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. I thought if he's going to be a guy, he's got to be a guy who's going to have to really take this thing by the scruff of the neck and be able to get there. And having a team put around him with so much NIL was a bit of a one for me. Where yeah, I'm not sure. So, but he is undeniably a great quarterback. So yeah, we will. Oh, here we go. He's coming back again. Just bear with. I don't know what went on there. You okay, right?
I wasn't watching my battery.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Crack on. I said a little bit about Morton as well, so carry on with it.
Like I say, stud offensive coordinator. Like I say, 30-year-old, he's an offensive genius. Like I say, he has got one of the most balanced offenses. He had like 205 yards rushing per game, like 240 passing yards per game. He's one of the probably the best offensive young minds in the game right now. And the Big 12 is wide open. Colorado has been rinsed. Like you say, you've still got stalwarts like ASU returning everything, but now they've got a target on their back and a lot of pressure to try defend their crown. They've just gone out and spent a load of money with TTU. And the Big 12, it's a pretty cushy route to a playoffs. Like, so the Red Raiders already have to be an outsider to make the playoffs. If they can make the Big 12 title game and book their spot there, and then just have one good game in the playoffs where Baron Morton does that, and he follows it up with another 60+% yardage, with let's say 3,750 yards. Let's say he gets 30 touchdowns, keeps the interceptions and 10. Just being nationally relevant, I think would genuinely put him in, like, say, that top 10 quarterbacks in the nation. So for me, like I say, he's a guy to watch. And with that as well, he's going to put his name in draft boards for 2026. That's probably the ultimate goal this year. He's been very productive, but he's never been in circles, never had any mentions. But this kind of feels like I think he can have a Josh Hoover year, but on a team that can make the playoffs. And then he nationally puts himself out there. And like I say, at very worst, if everything goes perfect, he just gets an invite to New York. Like I say, he's got the skills. They've got the weapons there as well. Like I say, I know they lost Kelly, like their best receiver, but they've got depth. Like I said, they've got a run game now that's got a big gaping hole to it. I think they should play a bit more spread. Let's go to a heavier passing offense. He's got a good quarterback. He got involved in a lot of high scoring games as well last year. How many times did they score 40, 45, 50? Teams watch them, players watch them. Like I say, the guys that are going to be voting will watch their games because they're just entertaining. So yeah, he's got to have an outside chance if the Texas Tech Red Raiders have a good year.
Yeah, like you say, it's with Taj Brooks going like it's now going to be his offense. So we will see with that. But yeah, bear in mind, I was thinking about him. He was on my short list, so we are thinking along the same lines there. I do have two quarterbacks and a running back for this. So my first one, and I love your categorization of what you said your guys were, because you said there's the okay, hear me out category. So I probably got the same. Okay, hear me out here, but I feel bad saying this. Jackson Arnold, quarterback of
That's
Auburn,
really funny. You'll know
and
why.
Cos, now hear me out. As you say, it's this for me. It's maybe the perfect storm of what this thing could be with Auburn this year. I actually think now people will mock how bad they've been in recent years and that, but we need to see what is around him. What has he got? What is this team like? And this Auburn team has slowly been getting better as it's gone along. It's recruiting better. Its transfer portal dealings are better. I think there are the makings of a good team here, and they've had the likes of Peyton Thorne and that under center here, which has not been great. Jackson Arnold, for me, got the short shrift at Oklahoma. Last year, Oklahoma were an awful team. They were just so bad, and they didn't have a run game. The poor dude got sacked nearly 40 times. He was running for his life, a lot of it. I feel he wasn't put in the best position to succeed there, and they benched him earlier in the year for the backup, and then suddenly like, actually no, can you come back in and play for us again? So they didn't exactly show a lot of faith in him. But Jackson Arnold is a very talented quarterback prospect, and he has been for some years now. And I mean, last year he didn't do too bad. 1,410 yards, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions through the air. His ball security is very good. Now, the fumbling is a different issue, but he's a dual threat quarterback. He ran for nearly 700 yards last year, which I believe by far was the best on that Oklahoma team. He had a 130-yard day against Alabama in the Iron Bowl where they nearly upset them. I think he had like a 150-yard game against Tulane, but he has the ability to hit you through the air. He has the ability to hit you on the ground. Targets. Auburn have probably one of the best wide receiver duos in college football this year. You have the superstar five-star Cam Coleman, who they somehow kept hold of during this portal, which just goes to show how Hugh Freeze has been able to retain talent a bit more there. And then, of course, they brought in Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech, who is an insanely talented receiver who's done well there, who's now going to get his chance to play on one of the biggest stages. The guy has targets. He has a good tight end there as well. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he is going to have targets to spray around the field too. He's got a better offensive line in Auburn. You're going to be able to showcase this dual threat ability for him on the ground, through the air. He's got bona fide targets to hit at. And as I say, this Auburn team, I think they're going to surprise people this year. Hugh Freeze, we know how good he is at roster construction over time. We do know that eventually he gets it right. And this is a tinge feeling. They're one of those I'm sort of looking out my eye at this year. I'm looking at the schedule and I'm thinking there's plenty of games where he can look good here. And the SEC, as we saw last year, was wide open. Like Alabama at the top of their powers, Tennessee have got all the problems going off with the quarterback. LSU may be one of the more settled teams. Georgia a bit over the place. I think the opportunity is there for him to have a really good year. And if they can slide into a playoff spot, he's going to be right in this race for the Heisman. I know it's a long shot. I think he's about 50 to 1 to be able to do it at this point, but I'm just not ready to give up on him yet. Now that I've looked back at the situation he was in and I've looked back at his play, I still think there's a very good quarterback in there, and I think this is a very good move. And again, he's got two legit targets there who are going to give him the opportunity to succeed, which he did not have in Oklahoma. So I have got Jackson Arnold. Did you by chance as well?
No, I've got Cam Coleman.
Oh,
Cam Coleman is my a lot of crazy things have to happen. Like I said, I'm fully aboard you. This Auburn team will be miles better this year. So Cam Coleman, like I say, true freshman, sophomore, 6'3", 195. He only had 37 receptions last year. He only played 11 games, but he had 580 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. In the second half of the year, he was a red zone monster. He's just turned, like I say, just turned 19 years old, built like a grown man, revamped quarterback room. Right, so you've gone from Payton Thorne to Jackson Arnold, Ashton Daniels, a 2-year starter at Stanford, and 5-star Juice Knight that they flipped at the start of this year. Like I say, it's an insanely talented room on paper right now. It's got so much better than it had to be. Couple that with Keandre Lambert-Smith, Rivaldo Fairweather, Jarquez Hunter all gone. Do you know how many receptions he had last year? 102. That is a gaping hole. Like I said, that Cam, it's a single turn. You got Maurice, like I said, the other
yeah.
freshman as a star beer. But if he just takes 40, 50 of those and applies it to what he's got now, he's 12, 13, 1,400 yards easily. Like I say, the sky's the absolute limit for him. Offensive coordinator Derek Nix spent, I think, last 14, 15 years at Ole Miss, assistant head coach, running backs, wide receivers. He's worked with the likes of DK Metcalf. He's worked with likes AJ Brown, like say. He has worked with an absolute plethora of NFL talent, and he knows exactly how to get the best of an offense. Like say, he has worked with some insane talent. If anyone can help this kid grow, it's him right now. According to the Arizona Public, 25,000 to 1 would get you Cam Coleman. Like I say, they are insane odds, but that's purely because of the talent. He's going up against, like I say, Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. So yeah, unfortunately, one of them, or at least both of them, have to probably get struck by lightning for Cam Coleman to probably win the Heisman. But like I say, even if it's not now, Give me a year, give me a two. Cam Coleman will be in Heisman discussions. Maybe not this year, but next year, like I say, he is an absolute monster. And this year, yeah, if Auburn go out there and win, let's say 8, 9, 10 games, like I say, and they just make a great bowl game, like I say, Jackson Arnold, that we think he can be, like I say, when he's given the time to work and just given a little bit of faith. Never felt like the Sooners had any faith in him. Give him the whole game. If he turns out to be a potential stud and Cam Coleman does become his favourite target that I think he should do, could put some crazy numbers here. He will turn heads against some of those SEC defensive backs. He'll give them the jeers. And we know, like you say, how preferable being in the SEC is when it comes to Heisman voting. Like I say, he's got a chance to really make a name for himself this year and potentially have a fairy tale year if Auburn could sneak into, like I say, a 10-2 season. They would firmly be like, we might have to put them in the playoffs as like a 14 or 15 seed.
I love the fact that we're on the same wavelength here. Like, even though it's not the same player, we are thinking the same thing with the same logic. So I love it. We've both got an Auburn player as a potential dark horse for the Heisman, and don't even think that's a hot take. They are good players, so we will see with that. My second guy, I'm guessing I'm going to categorize this. This is going to be I'm the only person on earth who's going to do this one, but he's my favorite, and I'm going to put him in there. And I think I'm going to put him in with legitimate reason, especially if they can win in the Big 12. I am putting in Rocco Becht for Dark Horse for the Heisman. I have watched pretty much every snap of this kid over the last few years now. 6'1", 210 pounds. He has been the starter for the last 2 years. Obviously, successor to Brock Purdy in Cyclone territory. And why I think here, this Iowa State team under Matt Campbell is getting better year on year, and it just happened to come up against a bit of a juggernaut in Arizona State last year, which stopped it from being able to get the title. He took a nasty hit, not that I've ever said about that before, from certain linebacker in that game, which knocked him out. But dude came back in, still played his heart out. He's got some of the biggest heart in this league, and it's more than the mentality, but. For me, he's just vastly underrated. Over the last 2 years, he's thrown for 6,600 yards, 48 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, 8 and 9. So maybe just want to bring that down a little bit of a smidge. He's got a little bit of running to him as well, although he is generally a stand and deliver pocket passer. But 11 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 years certainly looked better as a rusher last year. I think he's just discovering that in his arsenal. But this is going to be another good Iowa State team this year. And for me, what's going to push him over the edge? He's going to have to do it without Jalen and Jaden this year, two of his star receivers. But the reason they look like stars, they are stars, but you need a good quarterback to make you look like a star. And he has made this team look great. He has got a great backfield pairing with him, with Hanson and Abu Sama there. This is going to be a monster of an offense. And if he dictates another great offense this year, gets some new stars at wide receiver, makes them look good. For me, he's an NFL caliber quarterback. I would expect him to declare this year, potentially, although he may take a fourth year, who knows, depending on how it goes. But I think this Iowa State team can make the playoffs for sure. And if he's able to get into the playoffs and get onto the biggest stage and just show how good he is, a lot of heads are going to turn. And I think he certainly can put up the numbers to get into the Heisman race. He's been up at nearly 4,000 yards the last 2 years. Sorry, 3,500 last year. You get up to 4,000 this year. Put up some numbers. Just move those interceptions down a little bit. Keep on doing what you're doing in the run game. Show yourself as been a dual threat. And most of all, he's clutch. He led, I think it was at least two game-winning drives last year. Some of them, he was under immense pressure going down the field. He's just fearless. I think he's got the mentality for this. He's got the arm for this. I think Rocco Beck could be a very dark horse for this. He's about 160 to 1 from the odds I can get him for a quarterback. That's quite long out there, but I don't know. I just believe in him. And if you watch the pod over the last few years, you'll know how much I like him. And I'm sticking his name in the hat for a dark horse Heisman candidate this year. So yeah, Rocco Beck there for me. Who's your third guy, Ryan?
This guy can't find odds. I don't think you can even bet on him. That's probably how little this guy. I've got Ahmad Hardy, the running back that was at the Louisiana ULM Warhawks last year as a true freshman that was age 19. 5'10", 200 pounds. Last year went crazy. 237 carries for 1,351 yards and 13 touchdowns. He's now a Missouri Tiger. He is now
Ooh.
stepping into the SEC. He's coming for the transfer portal. Right, he's got an instant chance to make an incredible name for himself and be the darkest of horses possible. Like I say, it's been a long time since Derrick Henry. It's been a long time since the running backs had a shot. But like I say, the quarterback situation, Bo Pribula is the new starter, untested. Like I say, the Penn State backup, wild card. Like I say, so for me, run heavy offense straight away. It's going to be some ground and pound smash football while they find their work their kinks out. Like I say, forced the third most missed tackles last year, just behind Scatterbo and Gente. The guy is liquid. He's viscous. He's one of the top five top players of G5 and country in football right now. What he does as a true freshman, like I say, instantly put his name out there, and every team in the poll kind of wanted him. Like I say, just 19 years old. Like I say, he's got a good build. He's strong. He's physical. He's coming into a team as well that lacks depth at the position. They've brought other guys in. They had rushing guys last year, but they just really could not cut the mustard. So this guy had 237 carries last year. Could be 250. I reckon if he's healthy this year, you're talking closer to 270, 300. This guy has got the chance on the biggest stage of all against the best defenses in the country to potentially put up some like video game numbers this year. And like I say, if the Tigers, which unlikely to be in contention, like I say, because they're in a rebuild phase after losing Trader and Brady Cook, but if they can lean heavily on him, if they can give him the right system, if the O-line can make the holes for him, and he just shows that natural talent for finding the hole, that next speed and the home run ability, and he puts up some huge numbers this year. This guy may be the best running back in the country this year. I mean, statistically, it's not crazy to think that the opportunities he will get, he could put up the best statistics of all running backs in the country this year, which it instantly probably put him in the conversation. Top two, top three back. Like I say, Gen, he scattered ball last year. Like I say, I was ashamed to miss out. If he can kind of do that thing for Missouri Tigers in the SEC, and like I say, have big standout games against the big opponents week in, week out, where guys are watching him, a guy that probably no one knew last year outside of the G5 this year could have all the eyes on him. And the future of him is just incredibly bright. And like I say, if he does go out there and have the craziest of years and gets near 2,000 yards, it would be very hard, even on a bad Tigers team, it would be very hard to besmirch him the opportunity to at least have him sit in the crowd in New York. So this guy, yeah, it's very unlikely that this guy supremely talented, and he's been gifted, like I say, the keys, the chance to make a name for himself in the SEC this year, which is a very rare opportunity. And yeah, I just think he's going to get incredible amount of carries.
I love that shout. If I remember rightly, when Cody Schrader had his massive season a couple of years ago, he got outside Heisman chatter when he was the Missouri running back. So it's certainly not out of the book there. I do have a running back as well. Some may call this the low-hanging fruit one, but I think nominating any running back for a Heisman trophy is an outside bet 'cause it just doesn't happen. I'm going to say Jeremiah Love here. I think his
Looked at
abilities
odds.
this
I see him
year.
in and around the odds a lot. For me, he's the best back in the nation.
He is plus 5,000 currently, which I believe works 50 to 1 British term. But for me, Jeremiah, I have two reasons here. 7 yards per carry last year he averaged, had touchdowns in 13 consecutive games. But the big thing, there's no Riley Leonard here this year. There's no rushing quarterback. And whichever quarterback wins this job is a first-time starter, as you've mentioned. It
Evangeli or
means
CJ Carr.
yeah, they're all going to be first year proper starters. I know Angeli's been around, but he's never really been a starter. CJ Carr's the freshman who's never started before. So this offense is going to lean on Jeremiah Love this year. We know he's got an offensive line which is going to dig out room for him to be able to run. I foresee a 2,000 plus yard season for him, especially if they make the playoffs again. Like we talked about him this time last year, said he could be the most special running back to come out of college in a long time. And having Leonard in the team kind of just numbed down his stats last year because Riley Leonard ran so much and took a lot of that action. But when you look at it this year, he is primed to go 2,000 yards. He's primed to go into the playoffs and put on a big showing on the biggest stage of them all. And if he can rack up 2,000 yards, and you're going to say you're going to put him up at 15, 20 touchdowns, etc. Hell, maybe if he gets a little bit of action out the backfield, because the new quarterback, what do they love more than anything else? The dump off to the running back, the screens to the running back. He's going to get some receiving yards as well. If he can show that aspect of his game as well, I think this might be the year they might be able to book it because he could have he could have the year that Jonte had last year, but in the well, not in the power four technically, but with a power four schedule. So Jeremiah Love is the one I think there's a good chance he might get in. So
For
he's
me,
my dark
outside of the
horse there.
QBs, he's the favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I think outside there. I mean, it's weird, like the edges I looked at, like
I looked at defensive players, but then I just look at the track history.
yeah, it's not there, is it?
Football hates defensive players. No, they don't stand a chance.
I don't
Don't
even
know
th
how good they'll be, but
I don't even think Clowney won it. Did Clowney win it the year he went first over? I don't even think he won it, did he?
no.
Because I was looking at Dylan Stewart and I thought, well, Dylan Stewart could be a potential number one overall pick next year. And I'm like, would they give it to him? I think if South Carolina does well, they'll give the award to Sellers, won't they? Not to the defender. They'll give the award to his quarterback. So I thought, no, there's probably no chance that's going to happen. In terms of, I
Last
sort of,
defensive winner, Charles
ooh,
Woodson in 1997.
wow. Ooh, right, okay. Yeah, we can. Glad I didn't pick any defensive players. They would be long outside shots there. Okay, if there is a defensive player who could win it this year, do you reckon there is one who could win it? Do you reckon the one is that
TJ
special?
TJ Parker.
Ooh, ooh, now that's a call.
But now, but then I look at someone like Lee Hunter at
Oh God,
Texas Tech, or I look at David Bailey.
or Colin Simmons. If Colin Simmons could. If he gets somehow better than last year, he should be in that conversation for it. I think it's about time. We need to mix it up again. We can't just keep giving it to QBs. Otherwise, it may as well just become a QB award. Best
The
player
last,
in college football.
I think the last defensive end winner was in 1945,
Oh
according
God.
to Wikipedia.
Oh God. Okay, in that case. Well, yeah, we don't want the end of a war again to be able to describe that. So, oh Lord, yeah. Just in terms of other names who've been floated around there, areas I've been looking. So, in terms of other quarterbacks, Avery Johnson, the quarterback at K-State, he's 50 to 1. Dylan Raiola's 65 to 1 at Nebraska. Really interesting one here, right? The one at Washington, Demond Williams. I know people are really, really excited about this kid going into this year, and they're expecting Washington to bounce back. Obviously, he sat behind Will Rogers last year. Going to be a little bit of an air raid offense for him to be able to put up some numbers in. I guess maybe. Although I do like the Avery shout as well. K-State, if they go through the
Yeah,
X, of course
they command a very good offense under Chris Kleiman. Yeah,
they've lost EJ Giddens, so they're starting over with their running back one there.
or Mackay Hughes at Tulane, Oregon. I saw him every time I was looking at lists.
Mm,
I was like, if you're looking for a running back, look at Mackay Hughes.
yes. I think he's
Now
400 to
replacing,
1.
like, say, the Oregon starting running back, he's going to get a crazy amount of workload.
And his quarterback's a dark horse as well. Obviously, we don't know what Dante Moore we're
Got a
getting.
receiver, got to carry him more, like, say, a five-star receiver, like, say, it's going to be very interesting.
Kerry Moore's going to be up there for freshman of the year in all of college football, probably, if Dante Moore has a good season. Caleb Downs is up there. He's on 180 to 1 potentially, but I don't think a DB could ever potentially win that.
Especially with safety as well.
Mm.
Yeah, it just feels hard to see a safety winning it.
The funniest one I saw on there, Blake Horvath,
I
the
saw him at like
Navy.
1400 to 1 or something
Yeah,
like
the Navy
approaching
qu- the Na
criminal.
the Navy quarterback is up there as well. So and
I
then
mean, if you
Dil
look at his stat, but I mean, last year he had Heisman numbers last year.
yeah.
The team just fell apart right at the end.
So just to show how screwed up this is, right? Blake Horvath, the quarterback for Navy, a group of four team, a triple option team, has shorter odds than Dylan Stewart, who might be the best edge rusher in the country and the number one pick in the draft next year. That just goes to show you what Heisman voting is like. It's like
Even
they
though
just
realistically, we know because he's at Navy, doesn't stand a chance.
yeah, no. But he's got shorter odds than a potential number one overall pick in the draft. That's just how messed up this thing is. But yeah, that's why you kind of reserve it for the offensive skill players and the quarterbacks. But I'm looking forward to it. I
At this
reckon we
point,
might
just
have
have
a
two
chance.
awards. Just give them
Sorry?
to an offensive player and a defensive player. Just have two Heismans.
Yeah, I think that will be better. And just don't give it to quarterbacks
Yeah.
all the
Just
time.
say, yeah, you're the most outstanding offensive player in the country. You're the most outstanding defensive player in the country.
Yeah, yeah. I think Travis Hunter deserved it for a bit of two-way play. Like that's just that is rare.
Purely because, like I say, he kept it an elite level at both sides of the ball. It kept his fitness and health. Just an incredible amount of snaps, like I say, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. Anywho, that is our dark horse Heisman candidates. So we will move this on now, unless there's anyone else you want to quickly put in there. But I think we've got that covered.
John
So,
Tyson's got good odds.
you know what? I am shocked, actually thinking about this, that you haven't mentioned your quarterback's name in this.
I thought about Sam, but
I
I also think we're going to fall off this year.
Oh, really? Oh, well, I guess what is a
I think
fall
it's going
off
to
in
be
the Big
incredibly
12?
hard to live up to what they did last year.
The thing is, though, for the Big 12, what is a fall off? Because I just think it's that competitive. I think you could win seven, 8 games, win the whole thing, and be a damn good team because it's just really competitive. I mean, what did they win last year? 9 or 10 with the playoff win? What the
Uh,
what did they go? Ten and
thought they won
three?
11.
Oh, they won 11. Yeah,
Something like that. It was something like 11 and 3.
I'd maybe and I might not win 11 games again, but you could still be a good team with 8 wins. It's just how
I think, yeah, you've got to defend the Big 12.
Yeah, because Utah are going to be back big this year.
Yeah. Not
Like,
to mention as well, Sam will be, I think, a redshirt junior. He's going to declare.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. He is
and
a sleeper first round QB, and I think everyone knows that they just don't want to admit it.
yeah. Hopefully, he gets back to the playoffs and again can show it. Because I thought he did really well given the circumstance. And no scat this year. He can
No.
flourish, not in scat shadow. Although, again, you're talking about dark horse Heisman guys. You're running back.
Yeah, if you look at Kanye Udo,
Kanye Udo, what he did at Army, like, dude could eat for days in the Big 12. So,
I
Kanye
think like the
Udo
last
could be a
five
sleeper.
running backs to have so many carries for Arizona State have all been drafted.
Yeah.
And that's the whole time Sean Aguayo's been there, like 5 years, they've sent him back to pro football.
Has it been the same running back coach all the time?
Yeah, I think Sean Aguayo has been there since like Kalen Ballage.
How's he not got an NFL job at this point?
He's
Like,
had multiple interviews, like say, all over the country, but's come back.
it's,
Yeah, he's worked like say crazy amount of talent.
I guess if you've got passion about developing players, then, I guess he's happy there, right? And it goes to show the culture that's been created there that they don't want to leave. But I, I think you'd be hard pressed to find, we might have to look into this. You might be hard pressed to find a better running back conveyor belt over his time then, when you think back about who they've produced. If Udo does well, especially. Maybe we'll have to dive into that at some point. So anyhow, yeah, we'll get that out of the way. That is the dark horse candidates done for the Heisman, and the final section we've got lined up for today, as it stands, recruiting. So obviously, we are in the middle of recruiting season at the moment, or say we're getting towards the end of it now. I'd say a lot of the big commits for 2026 have been made. There's not too many guys to go at this point, I don't think, but we're starting to see the classes come together for next year. So we're just going to have a little dive down into some of the, I do like the top 10 classes we've got maybe for this year. And then maybe if there's a few guys we are looking forward to seeing next year, then, we'll talk about them, give them a bit of a shout out. But it's been incredibly busy on the recruiting trail, Ryan. I know just today alone, there was a very big recruitment in the state of Utah. So it goes to BYU, and they've managed to snag the five-star quarterback Ryder Lyons from Folsom in Cal. He is the highest ranked quarterback to commit to BYU ever. He is the highest rated prospect to ever come to the state of Utah, which seems really weird given the treasure trove that Utah managed to pump out all this time. But that's a massive win for Kalen Sataki. He took him from Oregon. Like, it was just down to BYU and Oregon. And you think Oregon are pumping quarterbacks into the NFL yearly at this rate, how well they've been doing. But that's a massive get for BYU and their program.
Yeah. Like I say, quarterback is very much about to be a problem after, like say, Retzlaff. Great player, and then you've had this murky area with the trouble, and like say, you've got they're relevant again as well. Like I say, as a national program, the Cougars, like I say, they were very close last year. They need to find that player, and they've got to stop losing players to the youths. That's a big thing as well. Like I said, they've always found it really hard to get those guys to not flip to the other side of Utah. Like I say, because they're just so now they've got to win those in-state battles. Like I say, it's a big get for them. Like I say, when like I say he's available and ready to play football, he should do good things. Like I say, highly rated, highly respected, massive. The kid's like 6'3", 220 as well. Like I say he's incredibly well put together with like I say a pro style QB. So by the time like I say he's ready, like I say, it could be a couple of years where they're looking at maybe a couple of Big 12 titles. Because, like I said, they've got the coaching staff in place now, got talent around him. If they can get that next guy in the door, get the foot in right now, it's huge for them. Like I say, because BYU's historic program, it's one of those where they find it hard. Because obviously, we're looking at it today with, like, say, missionaries. They get all their recruits and then, like, oh, yeah, but we won't be here as freshmen. Like, say, they go on, like, say, the LDS, and they have a lot of players, like, say, that take time away from football to complete their services. So, yeah, this kid's expected to do the same. But, yeah, when they come back firing and ready to go, I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, I think he said
Especially with the
he's
whole of wall, like I say, turn down Utah, the whole of wall is going to be spicy if they got the best QB in the class ever.
exactly. I think he said he's doing his mission next year, so it might be 2 years before we
Yeah.
see him there. But that is a big get. Sataki and that program are going places with BYU. But in terms of, well, so there's 32 five stars. I mean, so how it works, they're rated on a 0 to 5 star system, and these ratings change depending on how they're doing at high school. There are 32 confirmed 5 stars coming into next year, but specifically at the top, the ones who have declared the number one prospect coming into 2026 currently is Jackson Cantwell. He is the offensive tackle. He's got a 98.77 grade. He's committed to the Miami Hurricanes. He is He's got 1 year left in high school, right? He is 6'7" and 315 pounds. I've seen him. I'm sure you've seen a little bit about him, but this guy looks like an NFL player already. They're paying him about 2 million a year to come there, but again, it shows what Cristobal is doing at Miami. He's got first and foremost their recruiting right. They've always had big players there, but they've generally bought a lot of them in, or they've had flops who they've not done well. But man, this dude looks NFL ready, and he's still got a year of high school left.
Yeah. I don't know what they're feeding him or whatever his parents are feeding him. I think it's like chicken feed or something. I think he's just been on a mixture of grains and oats and whey protein for the last couple of years. But yeah, usually, like say, when it comes to rankings and like say they give that the OTs 5 stars, they're usually right. They've usually displayed at the high school level that they are impenetrable forces, and not that they get to the second and third level, they're just straight up maulers. At the high school level, if you're an elite offensive tackle, living life on easy street. Because like I say, a lot of your opponents, they are smaller. You are just going to kill kids. And this guy is just going to come in, anchor the line straight away. Like I say, if the body holds up over a couple of years, then yep, fully gone, fully guaranteed. What first year contract, first round draft pick, that the path's already written for the kid pretty much already. It would just
Yeah.
be interesting to see if he struggles with the size. Does the size hold him back? Will he be too big? Because you can be
Mm,
too big to play certain positions.
yeah. So it's when
You
you get
won't
over
really.
it's when you get over 6'6", isn't it? I feel like 6'6"
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
safety ceiling.
Usually
Above
have
that,
bad, their knees usually are bad and they play with braces before they've been padded up.
yeah, so.
Interesting to see how agile he is.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, he is the current number one commit in the country, and he's going to Miami next year. We're doing the individual players first, then we'll get to the classes. In terms of quarterbacks coming out for next year, obviously we know this year's one went to Michigan. They're paying him 4 million a year or whatever it is. But Jared Curtis is the number two ranked player in the entire country in the next high school class. He is going to Georgia. They're paying him about 2 million per year as well. And then after that, you've got Dear Bell, who recently won the Elite 11, one of the more prestigious sort of junior competitions there before they come up. He's going to Texas next year, no doubt. In 2 years' time, when Arch declares for the draft, he's going to be the next big thing there. And then the other major quarterback who's coming out, he is Faison Brandon. He is going to Tennessee. He's coming out there. But Dear Bell, I don't know if you've seen him. I like Dear Bell a lot. But then, of course, obviously, Jared Curtis going to be Georgia's next big thing. But I don't know. Their past record is murky, but I really like him as well. I think this is going to be good for the Georgia program.
Yeah, it's one of those where they always get them, but they never keep them. And purely that's out of one being impatient, but two, at least one of them hits and they don't want to wait 3 years. So it's always the ones like, when do we see them on the field? It's probably one of those where I say he's an absolute top quarterback. Like I say, it's going to go really well for him. It's just going to be, will he play for Georgia? Like I say, will he ever suit up for them? Somewhere, like I say, because you look at guys like Julian Satan. Like I say, there's top five-star QBs, like I say, that struggle to find a home because, like I say, they always land somewhere where the competition is just so elite and their college time is so precious that you really can't afford to sit here. But yeah, Bell, another great. And I say winning Elite 11, prestigious. Because like I say, you look at the QBs, like I say, if going back 10, 15, 20 years that win that, like I say, they're usually the best stuff. Like I say, these camps that they do, like hand out these awards, like they ain't no joke. Like I say, they put you through like pro paces, like going to the combine, and they usually are the best of the best. If you win that, yeah, they've seen something new that could be very special.
I think Arch won the Elite 11 a couple of years ago. But yeah, like you say, it is very prestigious and it is something to keep note of with these guys there. In terms of positional guys who are coming up now, LSU, we know they're a wide receiver factory. Like their talent from the receiver position has just, it's insane when you think of all the LSU receivers in the draft. Tristan Keys, he is the number 5 prospect in the entire high school recruiting class for next year. He's out of Hattiesburg, the highest rated wide receiver recruit to come to LSU in 21 years. And you think of the guys they've managed to pop out of their system, right, who are playing in the NFL right now, especially that 2019 title winning team. Tristan, I've watched this guy a little bit again as well. Already, he's 6'2", 185 pounds, still in high school. Frame is about filled out already. I know there's a massive push to try and flip him. But given he's already going to wide receiver U, I would expect him to go up there. And probably this time next year, we're going to be talking about him, about how we're talking about Courier more at Oregon this year. Just going to be the next transcendent talent to come out of LSU at wide receiver.
Yeah, it won't surprise me. LSU has just got crazy pull when it comes to receivers. Like I say, that's yeah, a lot of them get drafted and they look up to them. Like I say, role models. They're a pass-heavy offense. They've always got an elite quarterback who don't want to play in front of a crowd like that as well. Like I say, the draw is just it's just too powerful. And another kid, like I say, that comes in, he's already got size, he's got a frame that can be filled. Like I say, he's got production. He will be instantly in an explosive offense that can show off his traits. They're just a conveyor belt for NFL talent, and that's yeah. LSU is a stepping stone for any top receiver in the country. And they love freshmen. They will throw them in. Like I say, we've seen it in recent years where they just get these kids in straight away. There's no bedding them in. There's no, it's you will hit the ground running and we will make sure you stand you. And they usually do very well, especially when I say as freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of other guys who are at the top of there, the surprising one, the number 1 edge in next year's class, Zion Lee. He's a Maryland kid. He's out of St. Francis, the very well-known academy that produces a ton of guys who go on to much better things. He's going to Maryland next year. Maryland have the top edge recruit in this entire class. You would figure there's going to be a massive push this year to try and flip him. But as it stands, he's going to his own hometown team. At linebacker, you've got Tyler Atkinson out of Grayson, Georgia. He's not committed yet, but Georgia are favourites to land him. And I mean, why wouldn't you? Because usually Georgia pick up the best defensive talent in the country every single year. Best cornerback coming out next year so far, Brandon Arrington. He made his commitment just yesterday. He picked Tamu over Oregon, which I was maybe a little bit surprised by, but
When he gets Naeem offered, though, he's the other five-star.
yeah.
Gone to Oregon. He don't want to battle him.
No, no, but that is a massive pickup for Tamu going into next year. Tight end, that's Mark Bowman. He's going to USC. He's the top rated tight end in this class. And then you're going to go down a bit while to get to safety. You've got Braylon Womack at safety. He's projected to go to Ohio State, which would make sense because
Yeah.
Caleb Downs will declare this year. But I know there's a lot of hype behind him. The number one guard in the class, Darius Gray. He is not yet decided, although he is leaning towards going to LSU again. LSU's been pretty good with its offensive linemen in recent years. And they've also got the top defensive lineman in the next high school recruiting class, Richard Anderson, who is coming out of New Orleans. So LSU have themselves potentially two five-star commits there. In terms of the classes themselves, how they stack so far, so they rate it based on the average of all the guys that you've got coming in. So at number 10 at the minute, you've got Penn State. They don't have any five-star commits this year, but they've got nine four-stars, 11 high three stars, 20 total commitments there. Oregon are at number nine. They've got one five-star commit, but they've only got 10 overall at the minute, so it's a bit of a smaller class for them. Clemson at eight. They don't have any five stars, but they got 13 four-star recruits due to come in. A lot of them best D linemen in the country, which again makes sense. You've got Miami at number seven. They've got one five-star, 10 four-stars. LSU, you've got LSU are at six. They've got two five-stars coming next year so far, seven four-stars. Ohio State at number five. They've got two five-stars. They've got 12 four-stars. Georgia at number four. They've got one five-star, 14 four-stars. Notre Dame at three, one five-star and 18 four-stars. Texas A&M at two, one five-star and 17 four-stars. And at the top, USC currently graded to have the best class so far. They've got one five-star as well, but they've got 19 four-stars coming in next year. But obviously, there's a long way and these are going to flip, but Lincoln Riley, I don't know whether he's going to get the chance to have all these guys. I don't know if he'll be there for next year, but USC, certainly they're recruiting well, but it's not translating to good football at the moment.
No, it's an old school way to say where the poll's crazy, but whether it's through disappointing play, whether it's through, yeah, coaches swapping, losing position coaches, it just doesn't seem to materialize. And they do end up either losing the talent, which is often the case these days, or the head coach that brings them in is then gone and they suddenly rethink their recruitment. So yeah, always feels like they're always just replacing recruits with more recruits that just, yeah, they can't seem to hang on, don't they? Yeah, Lincoln Riley, he's on probably one of the shortest leashes in the country right now. And for me, yeah, he ain't going to get to work for a lot this much longer, rightly so.
No, no, but some good work done there. Florida State, number 11, by the way. So shout out there for you, Ash. They've not got no any five stars in there, but they've got 11 four-star commits. But when they're getting their ass kicked in Rally week seven next year, they may lose some. Just going to say that there. But yeah, that's the state currently of the 2026 class. Obviously, a lot of people are going to flip in that, so we'll have another look at that closer the time. Just in case you're wondering, coming into this year in terms of the recruiting classes. Texas are by far and away have won this year. They've got five stars joining the team this year. You've got Jonah Williams, the safety. You've got Justice Terry, the defensive lineman, who, from what I've heard, might see a lot of football this year. He's been doing well. You've got Lance Jackson, the five-star edge. You've got Katy Lockett, the five-star wide receiver. With all them leaving, he might be Archer's one there. And then you've got Cade Phillips, who's five-star cornerback. I mean, one of Texas's best classes in a long time. Sark, they're legit now. I don't expect them to go away in the SEC. They've got a hell
Jamie
of a pull
French
this
or
year.
Jamie French, like I say, this freshman receiver apparently is going to set the world alight.
Oh yeah, the 4 star just afterwards. That's a high 4 star and a 5 star wide receiver you've got coming in. You've seen just in recent years, Nick Marsh,
Yeah,
Ryan
those new
Williams.
receivers, like I say, they're hungry.
They don't take any time whatsoever to adapt to the league. So Georgia were number two. Of course, Georgia were number two. You see generally a lot of their true freshmen get some good playing time. You think KJ Bolden, guys like that. And of course, it's primarily on the defense. They got the best defensive lineman in class, Elijah Griffin. They got the best edge in class, Isaiah Gibson. And they got the best linebacker in class, Zayden Walker, who I think, if I remember rightly, is related to the Walker who just went to the draft from Georgia. I can't remember his name.
Jalen,
Maybe, possibly, but I think that's a result in lineage there. But yeah, that SEC pool, they've got a lot. Alabama were number three, Oregon were number four, obviously fronted by DeCarian Moore there. Ohio State were five, Michigan six. Obviously, that's fronted a lot by Bryce Underwood, been the best commit in the entire class. Texas A&M was seven. Auburn were eight. So, when we're saying that Auburn are looking a better team, they're recruiting a lot better. One of the best recruiting classes coming into this year. LSU were nine and Florida were 10. So, Florida also not going to go away. So that is everything in terms of now, just for the high school recruitment. Just thought we'd dip into that one a little bit there. And, quickly finishing this off, because I don't think we've got. Oh, no, we do. We have one more thing left. But we didn't mention DJ Lagway for a Heisman push. And I really, really thought about this, but
I
something's
don't think
holding
it's
me
a dark
back.
horse.
Is it not? That's the
I think
thing.
a lot of people will be putting money on him.
Yeah, that's what I say. Is it a dark horse? Is it not a dark horse? I don't know. I
I
think he
think the
can win it
public
though.
perception is not a dark horse.
It's just, I think that's just because though he's a 5 star. I don't know. I think a lot of people give Florida tap and say they're bad, so I don't think they're allowed to say he's a dark horse because people don't believe in him. I don't know. Or maybe his running back, Jaden Bow, can get it. One of them, but I think DJ Lagway certainly could be in for that. Okay, so the last thing we've got to do today, and I've got to record this, so this is going to look really weird, but one of the we always look for new things to do here on the pod, and we're looking for new ways to come up with segments and that. And we had a little chat about this week ago, but we thought what we're going to do this year. I don't know what I was doing, but I came across a little Wheel of Fortune spinny thing for college football teams. I don't know whether I was looking for one randomly to follow something like that, but I thought maybe it might be interesting this year if what we do, me and Ryan, we take a little spin of this wheel, and whatever team it lands on, we're gonna keep an eye on them during the season. So we'll do a little segment on them during the shows during the week, just for anything for us to expand our knowledge and to look in areas sometimes we may not. And I thought it's a fun little segment we're going to do. So we're going to do this. We're probably going to use this little spinny wheel thing for others because there's loads of ideas I've had to do with this. But we're going to take a chance on this. I have to record it because I need to prove to Ryan that I'm not like lying or anything like that. And not that he hope I think he would with this, but depending on where it lands, whatever it is, then we'll see. And then I'll put the video up so you can all prove it. But there's a team that we're both going to be watching out for this year. So let me just get onto it. Um, because it wasn't loading for me a minute ago. Um, so yeah, basically what it is, it's this big wheel, and we've got to decide who we're going to be following this year. So I'm going to give you the choice, Ryan. Do you want to go first or second with this thing? Like, who's going first?
I'll go second.
You're going second. Right. So I'm going to go on to this. I'm sorry you can't see it at home, but yeah, it's one of those things. So I'm recording now when I can record. I'm going to spin the wheel. So who am I going to have to watch over this year on the podcast? We are spinning. It is going crazy. And who have I got? Please don't be Florida State. I've got South Carolina. I'm happy with that. That
That's got
that that is a
potential.
good. That has got potential. There we go. We can see South Carolina. I've enjoyed that. Now Ryan's going second now. Is this choice going to be good or bad? Let's see. Let us spin the wheel. It is all down to fate. We have spun the wheel, and Ryan has got UCF.
Hmm.
That and it has some potential there
Scott
in the
Frost is
Big
back,
12.
isn't he?
Scott Frost is back. Yeah. So there we have it. We've done our little draw. I'll show them the video, show I've done it right. But for this upcoming season, I'm going to have to take a look at South Carolina on a week by week basis and keep you up to date with that, which is probably not going to be hard because they've got a lot of draftable prospects. Ryan's got UCF, so I'm looking forward to that. That is going to be us for the season going forward. And I say, I've had another idea I'll discuss with you after, but I like this little spin the wheel thing. So we're going to have some ideas that come up with this. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's just about everything from us today. So yeah, we've had a look at linebacker prospects for the 2026 NFL draft. We've had a look at some dark horse Heisman candidates, and we've had a little look through the high school recruiting class of 2026. But as I say, that much happens. We don't go too deep into it because a lot of this will change as time goes by. So yeah, in terms of next shows coming up, I say the main podcast should hopefully be back on Monday. Again, sorry about the delay in that, but Matt's going to be back from Glastonbury, and I should be back onto a normal schedule again. So not entirely sure what we're going to do. I think we've been looking at doing some roundtables with content creators and stuff like that. So I'm going to get onto that right away and we'll see what we can come up with. And then me and Ryan will be back next week with the college podcast. And again, to be decided what we're going to do, but we'll find something fun as always for you. You know, we've got a lot of things we do need to get through before the season starts. So appreciate all of you for watching. Anything else you want to quickly say before we get out of here, Ryan? Or all good?
I'm good. Like I say, we're very close to week 0.
Oh, I think we're about 70 days away, something like that. So, yeah, obviously we're going to have our prediction shows coming up. We're going to be looking at the preseason all conference teams as we did last year and pit them against one another again. We've got a lot of good stuff. And as always, if there are players you want us to look at, if there are topics you want us to discuss, teams you want us to look at, then by all means, get in touch with us and we shall sort that as we did for Brent this week with his request for linebacker stuff. So yeah, appreciate you all. Thanks for listening. And we shall see you again very soon. Remember, find us at Roar of the Lines UK. Just type it in online. You will find us. Don't forget to like, follow, all that good stuff. But until next time, it remains for me to thank Rye, and we shall see you soon. On Pride.